Hello, everybody. How are we all doing? Can everyone hear me okay? If you are out there, let me know. Anyways, I truly did not even know that I was going to do this tonight. But, I was going to do this tonight. But, let me mute that. Anyway, let me know if you can hear me or not. I think everything is working okay. I heard myself, so. Hope y'all are having a wonderful weekend. Oh my gosh. I'm just trying to get situated here. So today was quite an interesting day. I have been listening to lives and vigils on Sebastian Rogers all day long. I woke up for a little bit, listened to some, fell asleep, listening to some, woke up, listened to some, went out to eat, listened to some, came back home, listened to some more, and here I am. I don't know about the rest of y'all, some of y'all, most of y'all, all of y'all, but it is the same thing, but it gets worse every day. And I don't know if I am just so frustrated and upset with what's going on. Or it's hard because I think I'm like, okay, I'm trying to step away from this case, but I just can't. And it's I'm not on either side. I don't believe in this situation. I don't believe in sides. I have my opinions. Everyone knows them. I've made them known on other panels, on probably even here. I think in chats, I'm not, I'm not a stranger in chats. But I'm not on a side. However, the gaslighting and just the pure vileness on a particular side is what I'm just over. I'm so over it. Like today's vigil, I just don't understand. I don't understand it. I don't know what's true, but what I've heard is that I've seen this list of people that cannot attend. Why would you ban people from coming especially those people that are trying to help you. And also, why would you exclude the other parent/parents from coming in a way that they have seats reserved, but they can come, but none of their support can come, but yet you have all your supporters there? That seems a little one-sided to me. And that's the stuff that I'm not okay with. Why are we doing this? Like, why? It shows me that we are unwilling to work together. And it's all about me, me, me. And I'm not saying that if none of this was happening, Sebastian would be found. But in all the agony, why are we opening more windows for more divide instead of unity? Why? What is going on? And why? It makes you look even more suspicious, even more narcissistic. It just makes you look worse. I mean, in my opinion, maybe somebody else is different, and that's okay. It's okay, but just saying, to some people out there, you're making yourself look worse every single day. Seth Rogers. And it's just, I don't know if you were behind the whole vigil. I don't know who planned it. I don't know any of that. But what I do know is the things going on make you look really bad. Really even more suspicious. And the gaslighting is awful. And I am tired. And I know I don't have to. I really don't have to sit here day after day and listen to this stuff. But it's really hard not to. Because if I was in Tennessee, I'd be looking for Sebastian. Just like I am in Omaha, I am looking for Ryan Larson. Do you hear me? I look for him all the time. All the time. When I'm driving down the street, if I see something that, debris in the road, and that's not just for Ryan, it's for any local missing person. Anything that looks suspicious, any blankets, any tarps, anything new in the road, you bet your bottom dollar I'm looking. I'm making sure that there's nothing under them. There never have been, so I've never had to call the police. I've never came across anything. Like, if I've came across something suspicious and I've looked at it, it's never been, there's never been anything more than what met the eye. Eh, there was nothing to report. But listen, I am not afraid to call the cops. I'm not afraid to call 911 if I have to. I've, before I moved here, I don't think I ever had to call 911. And one night, I was out. I was coming home and I got a flat tire in a rather shady part of town. And I called the cops. I called 911 three times because I was waiting for my tow truck. I was waiting for my tow truck, and I seen a guy, and it was, as I say, a shady little gas station, and he knocked on my window. He was around my car, and then there was an abandoned car and something else. But I called 911 three times that night. Hi, Doodle. How are you? I mean, so I've also had emergency situations where I've had to call 911. Um, and so I've gotten really used to calling 911, so I'm not afraid to anymore. Um, my car got stolen. I'm not afraid to call 911. Like, my car actually got stolen twice. So the first time I didn't know it was stolen. 911 was already there. The cops were already locating my stuff that was in my car that got laid out on the road. So 911 called me, and then the second time I was at work, and I came out to work and out of my work, and my car was not there. So half an hour later, I called 911. They did not even come to the scene. They took my report. But anyway, I don't know. Doodle, how are you? If anyone, hello to everybody, all three of my viewers. I'm so excited to see you. It's good to see you. If anyone wants to join me, just hit the link and I'll let you up with me. But anyways, as I say, I am here. I'm not there. If I was there, I'd be on a manhunt for that child. Just kind of like I'm on a manhunt for this child. And just any missing people in general. It's so, Doodle can totally attest though, it's so hard to keep track of everybody you're trying to find. And I don't know. I'm learning of more cases and situations. Oh, thank you, Doodle. Um, yeah, if you guys, I don't know who all is available to join me. I know it's very short notice. As I say, I didn't know. Okay, awesome. I didn't know I was going to be doing this, but I'm just so baffled by this Sebastian situation, you guys. I was really, really hoping that by the 1 year mark of this, that I thought, I think I was absolutely like denying it, or maybe just in absolute denial, but I literally and totally thought that um by the 1 year mark that a miracle was going to happen and the green team was going to be like, "Oh my gosh, we need to, stop gaslighting the Proudfoots, and we are, we're going to, stop doing this and stop trashing people and accusing the two parents of whatever, of having anything to do with this, and we want to work together, and we want to, we want to work together, and we want to find Sebastian." And hello, Arctic. Thank you for joining me. No, you're not late at all. Didn't even know if I was going to do this because I'm just so exhausted with all of this. So exhausted. Um, yes, and I just thought that maybe some people would finally want to put Sebastian ahead of. Hi, Kimber. Hey, Kimber. I just thought that some people would want to put Sebastian first and work in unison, but apparently that is not a thing. Um, for hello, Mom. Hello. Oh, thank you guys for joining me. If any of you want to join me up, you can. Just I think I posted my link above. Oh, thank the Lord. Someone's coming to help. Mom. Hello, Mom.
Hello!
Hello, how are you?
Oh shit, I broke my StreamYard. Hang on.
Oh
I'm gonna have to
no.
pull the live up
Oh no.
because I don't have a chat. I'll mute it though.
Well, thank you. Thank you for joining me because I am not probably nearly as knowledgeable about this kind of stuff as you are. So I just want to know, like, what are you thinking about this Sebastian situation? I know have you kind of like backed away from it because of the drama? Like, oh, Arctic, here we are. Arctic, let's add Arctic.
Hello,
Hello,
hello, hello.
hello, Arctic. How are you? Thank you guys for joining me.
I am so sick of the Sebastian drama and the fact that they are banning people and threatening people if they show up at this vigil. What type of person does that? What type of father does that? And making people apologize to Bullhorn Betty just so they can come?
I just I'm
Oh, I didn't hear that part.
baffled.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
wow.
I'm baffled with everything. I can't keep up. I can't keep up with it. There's no keeping up, and it's really.
It's too much.
Here I am.
Hi,
It's
beautiful.
oh, I am just looking awful, but um uh yeah, it's awful. I literally didn't think things could get much crazier, and then today happened.
Oh, it's batshit crazy. It's gone off the rails, and Sebastian's been completely forgotten about. And this business of doing lives every day on Sebastian when there's no new relevant information, you want to help bring Sebastian home? Share his flyer. Share the accurate information that's out there. Don't publicize some wild ass reward that'll never be fulfilled that Nick the Hat and Dog the Bounty Hunter have put out.
And then why would you, if you're going to have a vigil to spread awareness, why would you not want people that are actually doing stuff to help there? It's so
because
baffling.
because that family is so divided, and that's what caused all this to begin with. That family is so fractured and so divided that, quite honestly, at this point, if Sebastian does come home, I hope CPS removes him from both homes and puts him someplace where there's not all the drama.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna need therapy.
and
Like,
you
he's
guys,
seriously gonna need therapy if he ever logs online and looks at his hashtag or Googles his name. And people don't think about that in these missing cases, but there's been a couple of creators that have featured these missing kids after they become of age and had them come on panels and talk. And these kids do that. They do that. I mean,
he's
me and
gonna need
Arctic had a
major help.
case. We've talked about it out of Ohio. And when he was found, he was so excited about coming up on the panel and was telling all of his friends that he had been featured on YouTube. And he was
Yes,
Sebastian's age.
yeah. In fact, I think he said he wants to actually start a YouTube channel of his own. And I said, yeah, well, don't run away again. If you want help starting a channel, I'll gladly help you any way I can. But don't you dare take off again.
Right. I just don't like. First off, the kid's gonna need extensive counseling when if and when he does come home. Okay, but okay, does any of you know if Seth is in therapy or has a therapist? I'm
He
not. I'm
doesn't
honest.
seem like the type that would reach out for therapy.
I'm not trying to be mean by any means to the man,
Mm-mm.
but I literally, when I step back and try to give him a little bit of grace, I'm like, oh boy, like this is a man that needs, I seriously think he's went off his rocker and needs
Well,
help.
and, and,
And
and
that's not,
that's part of the
and I,
reason why I pulled back from the case, because I felt myself getting so enraged with the stuff that Seth was doing. And I don't want to make accusations that law enforcement has it backed up or anything like that. But when I got to looking at the totality of everything that man has done and said since his child went missing, it's hard for me to not look at him very side eye. Now, don't get me wrong. There's stuff that Chris and Katie have done that have bothered me,
I
that
absolutely
I
agree.
side eye to.
100%. I get it.
But when I saw that interview that Katie and Chris did, there
Last
was
night
no
or
mistaking
whenever
the
it was.
yeah, there was no
Okay.
mistaking the pain on her face and the toll that this has taken on her. That woman has put on easily 40 pounds since her child went missing. She's eating her grief right now. And that's not to shame her in any way. Lord knows I'd probably do the same thing if my child was missing. But it's because of all the drama that has taken
Mm-hmm.
place.
Yeah. It can lead you one way or another in literal health reasons. And I just I think Katie and Seth both, and I don't really know about Chris, but I think they both have, this has taken a very big toll on them.
See, I think it's taken a huge toll on Katie. I really don't see it on Seth. Seth was, in my opinion, already pretty much mentally
That's
unstable from the get go.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too, is Seth wasn't 100% grounded in the beginning, and also um look at how much I feel like Seth depends on Tony so much. Like, it's sad
Well,
because
and
Tony
that was another mistake. Was
Tony doesn't do much for him.
no, Tony's part of the problem.
Mhm.
He should
Mhm.
have never been
Agreed.
brought into that case. And what makes me even more angry is that when we were interviewing Chris and Katie up on Dutchie's panel, Beth was in the chat. We gave him the opportunity to come up and present a united front, and he refused.
Yep. Uh, Doodle,
I've personally reached out to him and offered help.
to Seth and Tony.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
not Tony, before
It's
Tony.
Seth.
I reached out myself to Seth on a call-in panel thing, introduced myself
Mm-hmm.
not only by my channel name but by my first name. Said this is who
Mm-hmm.
I am. I am part of the group that has billboards out from the Twitter campaigns. I need cities. Give me cities where we can put these billboards up where he may be, where he may have family, he may have friends. I have spoke with his sister. I have emailed back and forth with other family members on Seth's side. Seth came into Dago's chat one night and I talked to Seth myself from the panel to him in chat
Mm-hmm.
and he wouldn't come up on that panel.
I, that's baffling to me.
Well, and this is no shade to Seth, but if you look at the channels that he goes on, it's the
Mm-hmm.
channels that have the reputation of destroying parents.
Yep.
Exactly. In cases in general.
Yep.
And he's got them whispering in his ear. And, you know, when this first happened, the card team would have provided him a therapist. He would have got a victim's advocate that was assigned to
Oh yeah.
him.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't have
I
been
just.
Chris and Katie's advocate. He would have had his very own advocate to reach out to.
Mm-hmm.
And he chose a PR guy that doesn't have the first freaking inkling of how to be a PR other
Right.
than
Did
pissing in the
did did,
roses.
did you see him up on Lore Lodge explaining how he met
Oh yeah.
Katie? Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And then today at the vigil, he was like right by him all the time. It's like the man can't function without the other man. And it's like, oh my god, like please. And then okay, SF investigates. He has a license, correct, Mom?
Yes,
Okay,
in
so
several
yeah, so
states.
he's literally a licensed PI.
Yes.
So why are they it baffles me as to why they're questioning this man because he knows what he's talking about and it's not up to their narrative, it's not up to their prerogative. Is that why they are all over
Some
that
might
guy?
say some might say that there are members of the green team, and I'm not pointing out anybody in particular that don't want Sebastian brought home right now.
Because they want to
Because why would you
continue
fight
the
tooth and
grift.
nail against somebody that has
Made you
not
money?
only credibility, but the
Who has
equipment,
actually
the
brought
skills,
kids
and
home.
years of training?
Yeah. And someone who's
Exactly.
actually brought kids home. Dog the Bounty Hunter ain't ever brought no kid home. And the only people that Nick the Hat's ever brought home is a bunch of fugitives, which he's good at because he's a damn criminal himself.
Yeah. And then okay, uh, was Dog in on Summer's case?
No.
Was SF in on Summer's case?
He showed up. Dog showed up at a vigil the very beginning of Summer's case when Aquasearch was there. But he was only there for like a couple of hours and did like a short little clip with the news. But he was never actively involved in Summer's case. But
Okay.
I can tell you where
Okay.
Dog came from. Dog came from Betty. That's
Yeah.
exactly who Dog came from because they were in bed
Oh
together down here
Lord.
whenever they were fucking doing what they were doing to the laundries, which I mean, I feel bad for the neighbors, and that's as
Oh.
far as I'll go for with that.
Yeah, right. Hi Far, how are you? Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. I just had to get on here because I just have to let some of this stuff out. Like, it is getting way too wild. Like, way too wild. And I don't know. like I got in probably on the end of Summer's case, so I mean, but I don't feel like it is. I feel like people went from talking about Summer's case and all that drama to talking about Sebastian, and now Sebastian's got all the drama.
Well, I didn't think it could get worse than Summer's case, but it's almost
I
like Summer's case.
I
Sebastian's
heard it
case
was
said, "Hold
awful.
my beer." I mean, seriously.
I heard it was awful.
Oh, it was, but it was nowhere near this. This is eclipsed the drama in Summer's case by 50% easily.
And could you imagine this green team? This green team used to be Summer's army, and now they
Hello,
have switched to
Candy.
Sebastian's case. Could could you imagine if the creators that had dead channels that quit YouTube were still here? One of them came out of the woodwork about a month ago. I like to died when I seen her come up on my For You page. I was like, what in the hell is she doing back?
Wow. So like people, so in Summer's case, like people like quit their YouTube channel and now they're coming back.
Yes.
Oh Lord. Oh Lord.
Well, and you
Yeah, I'm
know,
I
talking about
think,
a channel
but
I haven't seen in over a year.
can I just say this though? I think Summer's case and Sebastian's case are different in a lot of ways. I and I don't know why. I guess I still have, well, maybe they're not so different because I do have questions about the parents in this case, but I definitely have questions in Summers. I definitely have more questions in Summers' case, I think.
but here's the deal: if they had enough, if they had evidence that Dawn or Candace did something to Summer, it's been 4 years.
I
They would
would
have been
think that
arrested by
something would
now.
have been, yeah, that's
Now,
my
yeah,
only
I
baffling point.
I've got issues. I've got issues with the fact that Candace was doing drunk streams with no teeth in the middle of the night and then dirty deleting them the next day. I've got issues with the fact that, Don Wells does construction, but his house had no fucking walls and the kids were living in that condition. But just
Hmm.
because they're the world's worst parents doesn't mean that they did something to their child.
Right. And I guess there's other things I question about Candace too, but um I don't I think I don't know. Is it me or Candace doesn't seem like she's all there? Kind of like Seth doesn't seem like he's all there. That doesn't
Well,
but that doesn't mean that they had anything to do with their child going missing, but in Summer's case, weren't they like out aren't didn't they live like out in the middle of nowhere?
they did. But here's the deal. They did have neighbors. One of those neighbors was Jody Sue Brown, who came out of the woodwork like a little cockroach. And right before Summer went missing, her son, Damien, had been caught looking into little girls' windows and gotten in trouble for that. And I think it's kind of ironic that Summer goes missing. Jody Sue comes out of the woodwork like that and starts grifting off of Summer's case left and right, starts throwing accusations around left and right. Now, I'm not saying that Jody Sue or Damien had anything to do with it, but I am saying I just find it odd.
Well, and I also question Bobby's kids in Sebastian because didn't they say they were playing flash tag or something that night or something? Flashlight tag or something?
I hadn't heard
I,
that, but I think it's weird that
yeah.
Bobby came 2 streets over to insert herself into a case and made it known that her
Oh,
children were helping law enforcement. That's very odd to me.
yeah, it's odd to me too. Bobby's entire Bobby's entire presence is odd to me because I don't know. I think Bobby's seems like a know-it-all, and Bobby, the thing that bothers me about Bobby is it's always somebody told somebody, and then that somebody told Bobby, but nobody ever directly told Bobby. And it,
But the thing is, I'm about covering cases with integrity and respect to the parents. Okay, when you've got
Mm-hmm.
Clue over there bashing on Katie and I mean, yeah, bashing on Seth every chance she gets. Okay, and then you got Bullhorn Betty on the other side bashing on Chris and Katie every chance they get, and putting all kinds of wild speculation out there with not a goddamn thing to back it up. It's not doing anything except for hurting the integrity of the case. If you want to cover the case, that's fine. Go over the facts of the case, what the FBI has put out, what Nick Barris has put out, but don't sit there and just destroy these parents. And you know what? In the process, you're destroying Sebastian. When he comes home, he already, they said, had a problem making friends in school. Well, how do you think that's really going to help him when he does go back to school? You know, it this community real this is why my team and mom, Kimber, Doodlebug, we call ourselves the real crime community, not the true crime community, because the true crime community is trash.
yeah,
Exactly.
there's just a lot of drama in it, and it's overwhelming, absolutely overwhelming. And uh, like I say, like, I'm not on a side. I think, hello, Tomboy. Hello. Thank you for joining us. Like I say, like, I'm not on a side, but what I do notice the gaslighting on the green team, and it's
But it's
very
just as bad over there at Clues, JC, and you can't deny that. But at the end of the day, the only team should be Sebastian.
right, right. And it's just, I don't know, the whole thing has just become really sad to me, kind of. And looking at today's antics, I guess, is not, didn't help. And I really, like I said in the beginning, I really thought that because it was the 1 year mark, that things would start to kind of come together a little bit, but that is not going to be the case. And I don't know how long. Do you guys know how long the drama went on in Summers? Or was
Have
it just an,
it's still going on. It's just that they have
is
set
it?
it aside to cover Sebastian right now. And
Okay.
we were right earlier. They don't want Sebastian found, certain creators, because as soon as he's found, their paycheck ends,
Right.
and then they'll go back to grifting off of Summers' case.
Oh my lord. Yeah, not good. Not good at all. I was like, because I was just getting into the community when, like, I think I really got into the community like in 2022, like maybe, I don't know if it was right at, like, Idaho or like right before Idaho, but I was warned about, somehow I got like a warning or something of Summer, and I'm like, okay, like, I'm not even gonna like touch that one, like, I'm just gonna kind of try to. But I did look into, I did like, I did find out what happened, and like, or read up on what happened and all this stuff, and I'm just like, this is crazy, this is absolutely crazy. And now, like, being in real time with a case that's even worse, in the, with the drama, it's like, this is absolutely wild. And it's to the point now where I do think that Summer's case is really sad too. I mean, they're all sad. Like, these children apparently just vanished, and we don't know what happened to him. And it's just really sad that, people have to make drama out of it and can't, like, I just wish that, I wish there was, I wish, I, f- I just wish I felt like there was more I could do. I'm feeling, and, like, I'm not in Tennessee, so I feel like I feel like I can't really make a difference. I do talk to as many people as possible about it here in Nebraska, here in
But
Omaha.
JC, you have a platform. There's a lot that you can do. I mean, I'm not in
Mhm.
Tennessee, but you
Right.
can continue to share her flyer. You can
Mhm.
cover her case and Sebastian's case, and cover them with integrity and with respect to the parents and Sebastian. There's things that you can do, and in the process, you should be covering other cases besides just Sebastian's, because there are plenty of missing kids that aren't getting any of the attention that Sebastian's getting right now.
Yeah. Like, I really wish that people were, I mean, and like, some people have said, like, even though, like, there's been some antics on, Seth's part and some drama in the whole situation, it has kept his name out there. Whether in a good way or a bad way, it has kept his name out there. Now, that's completely different than, unless I'm living on a rock here in Omaha, that is not the case for Ryan Larson. Like, nobody talks about Ryan.
I've
And it,
covered Ryan numerous times. I've reached out to Ryan's sister to ask if she wanted to come on my panel, and I thought that she would get back with me because she did leave a comment in one of the videos that I did on Ryan, and but she hasn't responded back to the email that I sent her. But yeah, I agree. Ryan's case definitely needs attention. It didn't get near the attention that any of these other cases have.
nope. And it doesn't even get talked about around here. And even when I mention it, they're like, oh yeah, like they have to, like, actually remember it. Like, it's not like just automatic. Like, they're like, oh yeah. And the only time Ryan ever gets mentioned, even around here, it gets mentioned probably more times by you and I than it does by, the locals here. The only time it gets mentioned here is when it's the anniversary in May, and that's sad.
Well, and it's unfortunate, but the reason for that is that his case has grown cold, and
Mm-hmm.
without creators putting a spotlight on his case, it will grow cold.
And it will remain that way. And the same with, like, Tyler Goodrich, the missing guy in Lincoln. And I think I do think, though, in Lincoln, that Tyler has talked about a little bit, um because I'm friends with his friend, and also, I'm in the YouTube, the Bring 'em Home Nebraska YouTube group, and I think that kind of keeps his case a little bit made aware of. So that's a good thing about Tyler. But like Chance Engelbert, like, has been missing since 2019, but he don't get talked about very often anymore. But
And these are all cases that I've talked about. Now, granted, I haven't talked about them in a while, but here's the thing: it's very difficult when you have children going missing every single day that need coverage. I don't beat on a case forever.
yeah,
If
yeah,
new
you can't
information
beat a dead
comes out,
horse.
I'll go back and address it, and I'll certainly, if you go look at my channel, I think I've done 6 videos on Ryan,
Mm-hmm.
something to that extent. If
Yeah.
there's new information that comes out, I'll put that information out. But if there's nothing new to talk about, just like, I'm going and you notice that what I'm starting to do on my channel is I'll do my shorts on the new cases, but my full length videos are on these colder cases that really need the coverage because they've been completely forgotten about.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. I don't know. I'm just, like I say, I'm baffled over Sebastian's case. I'm to the point where it's just, all the crap is just getting really sad. Like, it's been sad, but it's, for some reason, like, the last week, I guess it's really hit me because I've like taken a step back and been like, can't we all just get along? But that's not going to happen. And it's frustrating and it makes it really sad. Hello, Owl. Thank you for joining us.
Good to see you, Dave.
And Tandy, thank you for joining us as well. Sorry if I didn't see you. I'm just blessed with my people on stage with me for helping me try to understand and make light of this situation, because you guys have been at this longer than I have, but I just, like I say, this is nuts.
I agree. It's gone completely off the rails. Sebastian is lost in the weeds. And in my heart, I believe he's still alive out there somewhere.
I think so too. Because I would think and hope that they've covered all the woodsies area, and I know people are out there, physically looking for him I know one person that's out there almost physically every day, another person every chance he gets, and I would think that between the locals and the other people just every day that could possibly go searching for him, and the searches that they've covered um have covered all the areas.
And
But I mean,
the
you
other
never
thing that
know though.
yeah, the other thing that we got to keep in mind is we don't know what law enforcement knows. They
Right.
probably have a lot more information than what they've made public, because they have to protect the integrity of the case. And I know
Yeah.
the TBI gets shit every day for not giving
Hmm.
any updates or not putting any new information out, but they've got to
Why?
do that.
I think they should, but then again, knowing that it's just gonna, I mean, with the history of this case and everything that they've come out with, they've been completely scrutinized this way or that way. I don't know why they would, because they
Well,
want to protect, they want.
it's the same in Summers' case. The TBI has been given shit. Now, granted, I'm not saying they're perfect. I've seen law enforcement agencies completely drop the ball, but it seems to me in Sebastian's case and in Summers that they really have been putting, especially in Sebastian's. Can you imagine the amount of money that they have spent on trying to find Sebastian?
Hmm. Hello,
When
Miss Barbara. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it.
if they don't spend that type of money on every child,
Everybody, no, they don't.
you know. So
And if they don't have, I mean, if they don't have anything pertinent to the public, they don't need to be sharing it, because if it's going to hurt the case, they don't want to do that either. So they're in a bad spot. They're in a sticky situation, and I feel bad for them. I cannot imagine, and I think, I don't know, Mom, and I mean, Arctic, you probably know a lot about TBI too, but I think that they are very overwhelmed and under resourced. In my, I don't know if you guys agree with that, but is that a little bit on track?
I'll let Mom take that one because she used to live in Tennessee, so she's more familiar
Mm,
with it than I am.
that's what I'm
The
getting
TBI
at.
has plenty of resources and more than enough staff. They don't have a good track record with a lot of locals, and that's going back to when the TBI was very, very first born. Like, the TBI is not that old, but they don't have
Okay.
a good track record. It is one of the biggest states for human trafficking. I will give them that. I will give them that. And they do a lot of stings where they do big groups of human trafficking rings, but I honestly think that they need more hands on in these towns where you're seeing multiple children go missing or a case goes high profile. Pull a couple of agents and have those agents doing the legwork. You know, you see in other cases where you have detectives flying to 6 different states and checking out leads and doing the damn thing. And like even with the TBI, one thing that they do fail miserably at is when a case turns high profile, and this has only happened in the last 10 years, it's been deemed a high profile case. Even if you don't have an update as far as movement in the case, come out and say we're still investigating. We don't have
It's an
any,
active
we're following on all
investigation.
tips. Right. Don't just not say anything.
Right.
I have to give it to them. The 1 year mark of Sebastian missing, they came out and they said, we're actively investigating. Speculation online is nothing but speculation. Please don't call in unless you have a viable tip. If you have photos, email it to this email address. So I have to give them that. And that's what society wants to see. That's what, because the birth of social media and the birth of true crime, you have to think true crime was deemed true crime with the Golden Gate Killer. And then you had
And when was that?
Don't F with Cats. The Golden Gate Killer was back in what, the 80s, early 80s, are it?
I believe so.
Late 70s,
Okay.
early 80s. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you had the Don't F with Cats documentary that came out. That Body Moving is in Sebastian's community now. Body Moving, the girl that runs around the chats, is the girl that was part of she was the lead of that group that solved that case.
Okay.
So that kind of goes in with the social media solving cases. But there's also been housewives that just sat at home when the internet first began that have solved cases. There's been university students that have solved cases.
Mm-hmm.
But it's when they're doing it in a positive light and they're putting in the work and they're putting it in to help law enforcement.
Yeah.
And I have to say, law enforcement gets frustrated with all the shit because they have to follow up every lead.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody calls in and says, this psychic said to dig at the railroad tracks across from the cow field down the road from that farm, they have to go check that area out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Where
called leaving
what
no
you have in
stone
his
unturned.
case, right? And what you see in his case is resources that can be placed in a better place, in my opinion, are being wasted on bullshit tips that are getting called in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I saw this on Facebook. But the
Hello,
TBI
PJ.
has got a hell of a
Thank you for
force.
joining us. Thank you for joining me.
Hi,
I
PJ.
appreciate it. Also, I wonder if there's several kids that are put on the missing page in in Nebraska every day, and most of them are from Douglas County. But I was also told that, and I don't know if Sumner County and whatever county Nashville is in, I don't know if they have this,
Davison.
but Davidson County, Davidson or Davison?
Davidson.
Like Harley Davidson?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So Douglas County apparently has like a task force that focuses just on the runaways. And I don't know if every state have that?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, apparently that's why there's if you look on Nebraska missing persons, guys, there is a list of kids every day, but they're all just runaways, and so they don't, and I don't know if it gets updated when they get found or whatever, but they have a whole like department that's just focused on, this is what I've heard. I don't know who told it to me. It must have been somebody at work or somebody, but I heard that they have a specific department that works on just the missing, like, reported runaways every day.
Well, and I think that's great. I think that every place
I
should
think that's
have a runaway.
wonderful.
I think that every place.
I didn't know if everybody had that or not.
No, the problem that I have been seeing is that it seems like every child over the age of 10 that goes missing, these law enforcement agencies have a little rubber stamp that says runaway, and they stamp them a runaway. And
Exactly.
yeah, and in so many of these cases, they don't even look for the runaways, especially if they're older runaways. They're like, oh, well, they'll be back when they get ready. They're just blowing off steam. And
Yeah.
statistically speaking, the runaways are in a more precarious situation. They're at a higher risk of being trafficked or selling themselves on the streets because they've got to find a way to support themselves financially.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a really bad situation when you like Memphis, Tennessee is the worst. They literally put flyer after flyer after flyer out of these kids, and they say that all these children that go missing in Memphis are runaways, ran away from home and refuses to return, or left the home without permission and refuses to return home. On every single flyer that Memphis, Tennessee puts out on a missing child, unless it's an Amber Alert, which I don't even see that many Amber Alerts come out of Memphis, Tennessee. But and when you treat these cases with that regard, and you put that on the flyers, it doesn't encourage people to go look for that child. I don't even like saying that.
Runaway.
Even if it's on the flyer, I don't even like addressing the runaway part of it because you don't know that that child's a runaway. I always use Johnny Gosh as an example. When he went
Yep.
missing in 1982, they
Yep.
they deemed him a runaway. They wouldn't let John and Noreen Gosh report him missing for 48 hours. And then when they did let them file a missing persons report, they insisted that he was a runaway, even though he had never left the home before. He never had a history of running away. Well, now, all these years later, a lot of information has come forward that points to the fact that Johnny most likely was trafficked.
I completely think that. I've never thought otherwise. And yeah. I've, done all the research and everything on that one because it was just over in Iowa. And you know, it's sad. I don't know how they think he was a runaway when he was delivering his newspaper, wasn't he?
He went he went to deliver newspapers. He had never been allowed to go alone on his route. And he wasn't supposed to go on his own that day. But
But his
he
mom
left.
didn't Noreen let him that day or
No,
something?
no.
Oh,
Um, my understanding is that he left before John and Noreen got up because John was not going to let him go on his own that day. And so they went and looked for him. He was nowhere to be found. They asked the neighbors, and the neighbors, they didn't even realize immediately that he was gone. It wasn't until the neighbors started asking, "Where's my paper?" Because that was very unlike Johnny. He was very punctual and always got the papers out to everyone on time. But people started calling and asking, "Where's my paper?" And yeah, it set off the alarm bells. And the thing is there were so many witnesses that saw Johnny talking to an old dude in a blue Ford Fairmont, and the police didn't even take that seriously.
and that's the part that's crazy to me because that's kind of a suspicion of an abduction, isn't it?
Well,
Yeah, I mean, I would think so.
yeah,
And how old was he when he went missing? Like 10 or 12?
I think he was 12, if I'm not mistaken, when he went missing.
Yeah, he was young.
And there were sightings that weren't taken seriously. There's a story of a woman that was in a restaurant in Oklahoma, and a child handed her a bill that said, "My name is Johnny Gosh, I need help," and that wasn't taken seriously.
Oh Lord. There's just so many like hats off to law enforcement, like whatever, but also not hats off to law. Like, where are we getting these law enforcement that don't put it together? I don't understand.
Well, I mean, the
How
thing
is
is,
this happening?
there's good and bad. I mean, you've
Yeah.
got your good cops out there like Mr. Steve, who I love dearly, who I think is the most awesome former law enforcement officer on YouTube, along with Doodlebug that's in chat.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but you've also got, the bad actors out there. We see it every day. People getting shot unarmed because they don't have the proper training to handle people that have mental health issues. And, the you
Well,
know the, we've got to start holding the bad actors accountable. The good
that's what
cops
I was
need to,
gonna say.
yeah.
They just
But
not do their damn job? Like,
well, the thing is that, and Doodle could probably testify to this more than
is
anyone.
that Mike joining us as well? Thank you for
Mikey.
joining us.
But
And when they
if you have these law enforcement officers that are part of the problem, and you're there, and you're not, raising hell about it, then that makes you part of the problem as
part of the
well.
problem. Yep. Yep, totally, totally. Oh gosh, they did run away, find out why. Doodle says, and when they run away over and over, they need to investigate the parenting. Why are they running away? Absolutely. If they did run away, find out why. Is there a problem at home? Says Tandy. And sometimes there's an issue as home to run from. Yeah,
I agree,
absolutely.
especially when you see these kids that, like one child I've put shorts out, I think 6 times this year that they've ran away. Well, there's a reason. There's a reason why they're running.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not just because they got a wild hair up their rear end, and it's not teenage angst. If they're running away that many times, there's probably an issue at home that they're trying to escape.
Right. The young pregnant girl. Doodle, are you talking about Emma? Has she? Do you have any updates on Emma by chance, Arctic? Or
There's no real updates on Emma, but Doodle, I think, was talking about Sophia Franklin, who is still, we still have an active Amber Alert. She got impregnated by a 41-year-old man from
oh,
Arkansas.
that one,
Yeah,
yes. Oh gosh, it's just crazy to me. Absolutely crazy. And like on the outside looking in, it looked like Sebastian had a good home life at Chris and Katie's. I mean, their house looks nice. It looks, like it was well taken care of and all that. But I guess you don't know what goes on behind closed doors. But I just, the only thing that I question is they said that, didn't they say that he ran out one time and hid under a car or something?
that has been said. Yes.
But then
Here's the deal.
but then it was said that he didn't like to run away, or he never
Well,
ran away.
hiding under a car is completely different from running away, in my opinion. I mean, kids will do that stuff. They'll go hide in a corner, in a closet, or under a car. That's not like running away from your home. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? It's a
That's
completely
just
different.
hiding.
Yeah,
That's just hiding for a few minutes.
it's a different scenario. And
Okay.
the thing is that, yeah, Chris and Katie have a nice home. It looks very nice. They live in a very affluent neighborhood. But Chris and Katie are normal people just like me and you. And
Yeah.
you never know what someone's going through behind the scenes. And that's why I end all of my videos when I do my long form videos with be kind to one another out there, because you don't know what a person's going through in their life. And just hearing those kind words could make all the difference in the world to someone.
Mm-hmm. I just
I'm not
like
comparing
it.
her at all, so I don't want anybody to come at me. But look at Ruby Frankie. She lived in a beautiful house in a beautiful neighborhood. Look at the psycho she was.
Yeah. Yeah. I just read an update on Ruby Frankie the other day or something, and I'm just like, oh my god. Well, mostly it was on Jody or Judy Hildebrandt or whatever the hell her name is, but that whole situation is just gross. Like that, yeah, nowhere near.
And that's another situation where the system failed those kids. Look how many times CPS had been called on the Frankies. And it wasn't until that poor little boy ran to the neighbor
To the.
emaciated that,
Mm-hmm.
it breaks my heart. And you know what? We've got to do something about these family vlog channels, because we see it time and time again where these children are being abused and no one's doing anything about it. And thank God, California finally did pass a law that's similar to the Coogan law that protects the stars on television, that states that a certain amount of money on the family vlog channels has to be put aside in a trust fund for those kids and everything. But personally, I just don't even think that they need to vlog do family vlogging, because those kids can't consent at their age to
Right.
being on TV. I mean, you Ryan's
Yeah.
Toy World. He started doing that channel when he was 3 years old. That kid is a teenager now. You think he wants to be on TV every day talking about damn toys on YouTube?
No.
Right.
Well, and the other one is the LeBrant fam. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of them, but they're just having baby after baby now, and I don't know how many kids they're up to now. I think maybe 5. And their entire life is on YouTube. Like, I don't understand why parents want to, put their whole entire life out on social media. I understand it's a, grift for money or whatever, but also like it is going to cause these kids, especially in the Frankies. Didn't the oldest Frankie daughter put out a book or something, and now she's like
Oh,
talking about everything?
she's been blasting her mom for years,
Yeah.
asking for help. And
Yeah.
she's a I mean, she's been her sibling's biggest advocate, and props to her,
I like her
because
a lot.
Ruby Frankie's sisters, they're just as bad as she is. They've got
Mhm.
family vlog channels of their own. They didn't do anything when everything came out about Ruby. They didn't blast her or anything. They were like, well, I don't know what everyone expects for me to come out and just completely destroy my sister, blah, blah. Bitch, if that had been my brother, I would have tore his ass a new
Oh,
asshole. I don't care my brother or
absolutely.
not.
Absolutely. Treating my nieces and nephews that way? Like that's just not right. It's just gross what can go on, and even in a nice setting, you never know what goes on behind closed doors. And even and just the opposite, like people might, they might not live in the best looking house or the nicest mansion castle or whatever, but they might have a very good home life behind the closed doors. That
Money
can
and
happen
nice
too.
things, material things are not the end all be all.
Right.
I mean, I've seen families that live off of food stamps and paycheck to paycheck that treat their kids far better than,
Then-
the Frankies for sure. But I
Right.
mean, a lot of wealthy families treat their kids.
Yeah. And my question with the Frankies was, how much did Kevin know?
Well, he knew a lot because that he knew that he was living with Jody and everything. And he was there
Yeah.
when they took Chad's bed away from him for what was it, 4 or 6 months, something like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
When they sent him to that boot camp
Mm-hmm.
and all that, he was there for all of that and completely signed off on it. And that's why I don't understand, because the oldest Frankie child is now trying to rebuild a relationship with her dad. But to me, the dad's just as bad as Ruby was.
Yeah, and I think that was talked about the other night too. Was how she's trying to mend the fence with him and stuff. Um, I don't know. It's just it's just all baffling and confusing and doesn't make any sense to, I mean, it's just crazy and super sad. It's all sad. But I don't know. Sebastian's case is just, it's still out there, so it's still out there. People are making it out there on a daily basis, so so people are still thinking about it on a daily, whether they like to or not, because it's still out there and people are not stopping. And I just wish that we could come to a unity, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. But then to take things step further, you got people suing people for this and suing people for that and threatening this and threatening that and banning people from this and banning people from that, and it's like, what is going on? Like, it's just not going to stop. And I just I like you, Arctic. I still think the kid's alive. And today I feel like they were treating him like he was deceased. And I felt like it was a funeral today. And
Well, I'm going to tell you why I think he's alive, because if you read the FBI flyer, it reads
okay.
as if it's an abduction situation.
Mhm.
Number one, when's the last time you've ever seen the TBI offer a $50,000 reward for a missing child if they're a runaway?
Never.
Never.
Exactly.
So they have to have, like, in order to offer a reward, they have to have something to say that they believe that he's still
Well, I'm
alive.
not I'm not going to say they have to, but I have never ever seen the TBI or any other agency like them offer a 50K reward if they don't believe that that child has been abducted.
And you have to
Okay.
read, you got to read between the lines. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, is the wording is very important. You have $50,000 reward leading to XYZ. You have $50,000 reward leading to the location of.
Okay.
So you have to look at the way it's worded. You want to look at stuff like that. And when you've been doing this long enough, you'll catch on to stuff like that. Like, you'll watch the wording and you'll be like, oh, wait a minute. That means, so you want to look at, does it say seeking information? Like what? But you have to read the information, but think about what you're reading. You know what I mean? I'm not saying like obsess over it, but once you've done it enough, you can learn the wording. And generally, law enforcement across the board will use the same type of wording.
So in some situations where they think that the person is deceased, do they say leading to the remains of?
Yes, you'll see remains
Okay.
of, location of.
Okay. Okay. Because I was wondering if they would ever want to put it out that they think that the person is deceased. And if you can, like $20,000 for the tip on the location of remains of, or tip on
Yeah.
location of.
Yeah, I've seen them use remains before, especially if they have evidence to show foul play. If they have evidence that shows something happened.
Okay. Or evidence of foul. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Doodlebug says, I know for a fact law enforcement will not tell a parent they cannot talk about anything. Now, they will ask you not to tell certain things, but not like can't say anything. So they might like recommend you don't, um, they will ask you to not tell certain things. So, like, can you please not tell this? And also, like, um,
So law enforcement is going to be transparent with a parent to a certain extent. There are going to be things that are held close to the vest, but law enforcement is going to be transparent with a parent as much as they possibly can without damaging the
integrity.
integrity. Words are hard of the case.
Okay.
So, the parents might know certain details, or there may be certain details that they know that law enforcement knows that they share with the parents, but they say, hey, we're sharing this with you, kind of like I will give you this, but it's not for public consumption.
Right.
And even myself and Arctic and Doodle, and I'm sure many other people have had families reach out and say, this, and this. But this and this is
But
not for public consumption. This is for your knowledge only, kind of thing, if that makes sense.
right.
I hope that made
Yeah.
sense.
And when they say Crime Stoppers, well, don't expect your money unless you have the tip straight to Crime Stoppers. Okay. Joe, well, you can't speak to media, but if you want your child found, don't mention that the neighbor side-eyed him.
Great
Oh,
example, Doodle, because
yeah.
I was struggling over here.
So you can talk to the media, but just don't say this.
For
Or say
say,
it like,
like, I'm just going to hypothetically say if you are talking to law enforcement and law enforcement gives you information and then you go on a podcast with 5,000 people in the chat and call law enforcement live, they're probably not going to tell you much after that.
probably not.
Just hypothetically.
I'll give you an example, JC. I was
Okay.
working a
Thank
case
you,
with a
Arctic.
father. I was working a case with a father.
Okay.
The FBI found the child, but the father
Okay.
said you can't announce that the child's been found because we're trying to build a case against the abductor. So I had to sit on that information for months, knowing that that child was safe before I could even announce that he had been located safely.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Because they didn't want the public to know right away that he was found because they were trying to figure out
They were building a
the
case
case against the and they
against the
didn't
abductor, and they didn't want to tip off the
off the
abductor
abductor. Yeah.
that they were building the case against her
Yeah.
because they
Totally
knew
get
who
that.
the abductor was. Okay, but they
Mhm.
found the child away from the abductor. So the child was not with the abductor at the time that they found the
Found
child.
him. So
So
they didn't catch the abductor red-handed.
no,
So they had to wait and get the evidence that the child was with the abductor. Yeah. I just don't know. I flip flop with. I don't know about you guys, but I flip flop with Sebastian because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's been so long. But then again,
And
there's
I mean, I'll give you another example of not everything is for public consumption. When I was covering Timmy D's case, I have photos that would be, very helpful to put out in the fact that it shows that there were things done to Timmy that shouldn't have been done based on the trauma to his body when it was found, the skeletal remains. But I would never put that out there because that would hurt Barbara.
the kids.
And
Yeah,
there's no reason for that to be out there.
no, no. Um, what was I gonna say?
And there's a recent case that I just covered, and I was a major fuck ton of information for lack of better words, and I was given a list of whom I was able to share it with at my
Right.
discretion, and I shared with the people that were helping. And other than that, it will
Yeah.
never be put on my channel for any reason whatsoever.
Right.
Because you have to hold your integrity close to your heart when you do this with families.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important to do no harm.
Right. Yeah, you can't just be putting everything out. And I really do think that, I don't know. I don't know about you guys. I still have faith in the, like, TBI because, or, whoever, FBI, TBI, whoever, because I think they've got to know something. And that is what I'm going to give them this grace. I'm going to say the reason they're not saying anything is because they have something so hardcore that they are building on it. They still have to build on it. It's going to take time. We have to be patient. We are not owed anything. We, the public, are not owed anything by the authorities. Just because we are impatient people doesn't mean that they need to speed up their process or do anything to jeopardize the case. Yeah, obviously it would be nice, but there's got to be, I just try to keep the mindset that there has got to be something that they have that when they can, they will come out with it. And not any later or sooner than they can. When they can, they will. And when they've got this, I still have hope for them. I really do. And God, the more I think about, each side of things, all the drama that's gone on, the more I think about who's in the middle. It's law enforcement. Law enforcement's in the middle of this shit. And I just feel absolutely awful for them.
Well, and when you
They're not
okay,
perfect, but no
let
law enforcement's probably perfect. But holy shit, the TBI, I think, is, with all the missing people and all the shit that goes on in Tennessee, they've got to be head underwater.
well
And
let
I
me
feel
ask you
bad for them.
let me ask you this, JC.
Okay.
When the slightest little tidbit of information that usually turns out to be a nothing burger comes out, and you see these creators turning it into a wild shit show and coming up with whatever theory fits their narrative,
Oh yeah.
do
Oh
you
yeah.
honestly think that the TBI is going to come out with more
No.
information for them to spin into their narrative?
No. No. Yeah, I don't blame them 1 ounce. Not 1 ounce, because everything they do gets spun one way or another. And is it really worth it? Absolutely. I don't think it is. Because there's these people out here making mountains out of molehills. And it's ridiculous. I mean, if I go missing, just check the local car shows. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I do. I don't know. I think that I don't think any. I feel bad for law enforcement. I, but then again, there has been cases where there has been some pretty sloppy police work, folks. And that, there's bad ones everywhere, but I just hope for the most part that they do things. I don't know if Doodle knows, but um those officers that everyone attacked Dylan, you can't throw out her name like that and leave her to the wild animals, and they did. Those officers.
I agree wholeheartedly with Doodlebug.
Yeah, I think
Yes,
well, is Walt Harris here? I think Walt Harris is here. Thank you, Walt Harris, for joining us. Well, if I go missing, check the food trucks. Yeah. Now, in Idaho's case, that was a straight up quadruple homicide, and I don't know if someone like little Moscow Police Department had the resources to correctly oversee that one. And I think things got real messed up there. Do you think seeing what Dylan saw, she will ever get over that?
No, she's going to have PTSD for the rest of her life. She's going to need years and years of therapy. I mean, I can only imagine. I mean,
well, I do question. I mean, but I don't know what I would do. And I've heard of I question the 8-hour time period. However, I also have heard of other people going into this frozen shock phase, and they've personally told me their personal story as well, and I get it. So it's a real.
well,
It's
I'm
a
going to
real
give you
big.
I'm going to give you a good example. You remember when there was the football party watching a Kansas City Chiefs game, and everyone was bound and determined that the guy that threw the party, because he was a chemist, killed his friends and everything.
Oh
And
yeah,
it turned out he
when
had
the.
nothing to do with it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
People are too
What
quick to
happened
jump
to
the
that
gun.
case? It
He
just
didn't get
like
charged.
disappeared.
It just disappeared, but they did clear the person that threw the party. That was the last update that I saw on it.
Yep, no charges.
That was very strange.
It was
Another
very
example
strange.
is the Athena Strand case. Everyone was attacking the stepmother because she had had a disagreement with her stepdaughter. And guess what? She had not jack shit to do with it. The damn FedEx man was
The
responsible.
FedEx man. Yep. Yeah, we don't know. Yeah, we don't know what they were going through. Yeah. So they didn't, I don't think they handled that case properly either. The Idaho case was completely crazy.
I backed completely away from the Idaho case because of all the madness that was going on in that case.
Yep. And people were, and at this point, Idaho, I think we're beating a dead horse. We're beating a dead horse with Sebastian, too, I think. But yeah, I was confused about the Kansas City case. Like, why? Like, obviously, but, you know, the guys, I mean, they were adults. Like, maybe they were locked out, but I don't know. Just weird. Just weird.
And good old Aunt
Hello?
Nancy was one of the worst ones about attacking that chemist that threw the party. So,
Well, I think he was the easiest pinpoint.
I mean, that's true, but that's why it's so
But,
important to follow the facts of the case that law enforcement is putting out. If they
yeah,
named him as a suspect, by all means, then you can speculate, then you can attack. But they didn't name him as a suspect at any
right,
point.
right. And then he is, and then it makes you look stupid because you have reported or repeated information that ends up not being true or factual. And Scott is with us. Thank you, Scott, for joining us. Yeah.
But yeah, all the speculation in these cases, all it does is create harm, in my opinion. Now, I mean, I'm not without fault. I will speculate a little, but I always make sure to put, in my opinion, and preface that all people are innocent until proven guilty, and all of that when I'm laying the groundwork out as to my thoughts are on a case. And I never directly attack a family ever because I've seen that happen way too often. And the problem is that these creators that built their channels off of attacking families, they never issue an apology when they're proven to be wrong.
Right. Well,
And the internet,
that's just what I was also going to say is like what are even me to an extent, like what are we going to do when when Sebastian, okay, is found alive and it was he ran out the house, got lured out the house, and someone took him. And we're sitting here blaming Chris and Katie and Seth, and neither one of them had anything to do with it, and it was a random person. What are we going to do when that happens? Or what are we going to do when he is found deceased and the autopsy comes back and finds out that um, the parents had nothing to do with it either? Or on the sides, what will the green team do when they find out that Seth really did have something to do with it? And what will the other side do when they found out that Katie had something to do with it? I mean, I think, and I've said this forever, it doesn't matter. However, whenever Sebastian is found, however he's found, I think our heads are going to roll in one way or another. I think we're all going to be shocked, no matter what the outcome is. I don't know. I think we're all going
well,
to,
and the thing is,
and
with very,
we're all
the,
going to have to take responsibility for our words and actions.
well, you would think, but do you think Bullhorn Betty's going to issue any fucking apologies or that Cluminati's going to apologize to Seth? Yeah, no.
Or that the green team's going to, no. No. I mean, I have all these speculations, but I'm not saying either one of them's right or wrong. I think it's all crazy, and
Now, do
I'm
I
gonna
speculate with my team behind the scenes as to what I think may have happened? You bet your ass I do. But that's not me putting it out there for public consumption.
right. I don't know. I think I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think we're all just going to be shocked because I think I'd like to think that we're all going to find out that Chris, Katie, or Seth had nothing. I still don't think any of them had anything to do with it. I really don't. I really don't. Because you can't sit there and tell me that you can go on this long without
Well, at the end of the
like
day, there's very few creators on this platform that have degrees in criminology that have actually studied how to handle these cases. Okay.
right.
And it's not their job to solve a case. That's law enforcement's job to
Law
solve the
enforcement,
case.
yeah.
Now, if law enforcement is not doing their job like in Timmy's case, you bet your fucking ass I will light a fire under them and get some heat under their ass to do the right fucking thing.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I didn't solve Timmy's case. I put a fire under people to pay attention to it because no one was covering the fucking case at all.
Right. And ignoring it.
You know, it's just like the little boy out of Ohio that we talked about earlier that came on the panel with mom and me. No one, the law enforcement knew exactly where he was. The mother blatantly told them where that child was. These pieces of shit had tried to abduct him once before, a couple times before. And then when the mother goes through the neighborhood searching for her child, screaming his name, she got arrested for disturbing the
Oh
peace.
Lord. Oh Lord. Yeah. Not good at all. That's just not right. But yeah. People just insert themselves way too much, I think, and that's where the commotion gets crazy. And I don't I don't like it. But yeah, today's antics didn't make Sebastian's case any better, in my opinion.
No, not at all. I mean, and it's been a shit show from both sides, but I will say I feel that it was more so on Seth's side than on Chris and Katie's side. I feel, in just my opinion, that Seth never got over his divorce from Katie, and that's where the real problem lies, where the real drama lies.
Yep. Well, that that's the whole thing with me too. Is like I've said it before and I'll say it again. I just don't like what really really bothers me is the gaslighting and the victimology. Like holy Toledo. Like I get it. Like I know you're a victim. Like this is an awful situation that's happened, but it's every time you hear the voice, it's poor me, poor me, poor me, or how can I gaslight? How can I gaslight? How can I gaslight? And the spokesperson doesn't help.
The spokesperson, and the thing is, Tony has a history. He was a shitbag in the Caleb Harris case too.
I was going to say, maybe it was him that I was thinking was a part of. He wasn't a part of Summer's case, was he?
No,
Okay. He was a part of Caleb's
No,
case,
he
though.
made his
Yes.
debut in Idaho 4, and then he
Oh,
succubused
he
Caleb
was in
Harris.
Idaho too?
Yeah, he was the drone operator.
Okay.
hmm I think it was News Nation that the clip's on, but you can see him standing beside the house flying a drone.
Okay.
That's when he weaseled his way into true crime.
Okay.
And then he
So
infiltrated
is he
Caleb
just somebody
Harris.
that wants attention? Like, is he just trying to find ways into these cases? Like that because he's
That's
Well, if he
my
wanted
opinion.
attention, he got it when he flopped his wiener out for the whole world to see.
oh my
hmm
god.
These are facts. That's why we call him Dick Doc Tony.
Oh my god. And he was so was he was
JC's gonna
originally
delete this live. She's gonna say, "Oh God."
was he originally on TikTok? Is that why they call him TikTok Tony?
He originally was on TikTok, but he
Okay.
didn't have TikTok. He made a TikTok under Caleb Harris's name. It
Okay.
grew
Yeah.
hugely,
Yeah.
and then he changed it into his name.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
So he could take over the account, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's just
Yep.
scammy.
It's
That
scammy,
is
it's scummy, it's slimy, it's disgusting, but it is Dick Doc Tony, so there's that.
so the man is suspicious
He
can be.
he's a grifter his damn self.
He's okay.
He's got
Now
a
I'm putting
criminal record too. Which I
now
mean,
I'm
that's
putting
not to
it all
say that everyone
together.
with a
Mhm.
criminal record is bad, but when you look at what he's doing,
Well, and look at who he's teaming up with Betty. Oh my lord. Oh my lord. I'm putting it all together, guys.
And there's Naked Arm Gate now too. Did y'all hear about that? Water
What?
Bottle Gate. When Tony was on Seth's Live the other night, there was an arm that reached over by the lamp and grabbed a blue water bottle. Dun,
I heard
dun,
about that.
dun. So now everybody's trying to identify said arm and
Oh
water
my
bottle.
god. Wow.
It ain't mine. I tell you right now, I ain't got no water bottle.
Well, and
My cup was my channel name on it. It was not me.
it
Click
wasn't me,
that.
unless it was a
it
big old
wasn't
bottle of
me.
Mountain Dew.
My water bottle ain't blue. Um, but yeah, then you throw in Nick the Hat and At Night Media, and it's just a whole nother layer of a shit show.
And another
Yeah, and
one
that
that
didn't come out of
has
the woodwork.
a history of fraud. So there's
I was gonna
that.
say,
Mhm.
isn't he a crime person as well?
He's a convicted
Yep, he
felon
can't even
for
leave his
fraud.
gate.
Okay.
Mhm.
Guys, I am putting this all to there's so many people involved and so many like parts to everybody that I I've known about it, but like just sitting here thinking about it all is like even more, you know what's messed up between TikTok, Tony, Dog, and then you throw Dog in the situation. It's like Arctic, it's like a it's like a 5-ring circus. I can't I can't believe it. You know what's messed up too between TikTok, Tony Dog, etc. There's more people that waste time on their drama than actually. Ad is absolutely right, Mike.
1,000%, Mikey. 1,000%.
Can't 1,050%. I can't wait until
And then
they
you've got Stephen Crabtree, who came out of the woodwork and was so supportive of Seth at first. Now he's turned sides And, he said a bunch of shit that would never happen. Oh, he walked right into the law enforcement office and they gave him all this information, and people are treating him just as if he's the best thing since sliced bread. And the motherfucker's nothing but a goddamn liar.
And people going after him for this and that, and him that back and forth business, that's crazy too. How many, I think, creators like Nonsense Queen Bee, Brittany J add nothing. How many more times can Seth, Katie, and Chris be analyzed and then be ripped on for just trying to find their kid? Some people get into true crime and don't give a shit about not mouthing but trolling a chat. It's disrespectful to the victim, and I'm freaking over it.
Well, now, to be fair, Nonsense doesn't analyze Chris and Katie. She analyzes the other creators who are attacking the families.
She analyzes Brittany J quite a bit, I think.
Brittany J needs to be analyzed because she's one of the biggest perpetrators on the platform.
She needs to be analyzed right the hell out of YouTube, in my opinion.
Yep. I have a fancy little clip I ain't put out yet of Miss Brittany J.
Mm-hmm.
That I snagged last night.
Yeah. Doodle, 100%. When we get people like you, you know what you did today. Sports player.
Doodle did the damn thing today.
She was boots on the ground out there searching for a missing woman in Missouri today.
Doodle was?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
yes.
Well, that's awesome, Doodle. Thank you.
Yep. Doodle did the damn thing today. She got flyers made, and then the team got flyers out. Doodle went and searched.
Nice.
I think she had half of us in a panic attack most of the day, worried about her. And then the lady ended up being found. That is doing the damn thing.
Yep, that's what you call teamwork, JC. Yes, she was found safe.
That is wonderful news.
And it's just like when we were in Mom's Live. Amber Alert hit my phone. As soon as it hit my phone, I notified Mom, I notified Doodle, I notified Kimber. We weren't even finished with Mom's Live, and I got the notification that the four, and it actually turned out that it was that boy and two of his siblings that were missing, but we got the notification that they had been located safely.
Oh, nice. Well,
Amber
thank you for
Alerts
joining us, Doodle.
Amber Alerts work, and that's why I'm fighting so hard for every missing child to get an Amber Alert put out, no matter what the situation is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us, Doodle. I appreciate it. I will talk to you probably soon. Oh, yeah, I need to talk to you soon. Forgot about. We haven't talked yet, have we? But we will. You have a good night. Thank you. Yeah, I'm waiting to see. Unfortunately, the last search for Tyler had to be postponed, and I still had to work that day. But as soon as there's a day that it's scheduled, because he tries to put I think he tries to do like one search a month. And now that it's warming up and hopefully the hunters are done, we can actually get out and do a boots on the ground search for him, I'm hoping. But I ask what's his name, Eric and Rachel, about every month when the next search is going to be, and I also get notifies on my Facebook. So hopefully the next time we go that there's a search that I can go to, I'll be able to go actually do boots on the ground instead of just a vehicle search.
Well, if you are in contact with Ryan's sister or any of his family, tell them I would be honored to have them come on my channel and talk about Ryan's case. I'll have Doodle and Mom and Kimber come up with me. and we'll sit down and we'll cover the case with the integrity and respect that it deserves.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't even know who Ryan I don't know Ryan's sister at all. Um I guess I could go check it out, like look it up and see if I can find her and stuff and see. Um but yeah. Um I think Eric tries to do a search for Tyler like every month. But man, the other month, like in February when they did it, I think it was really cold out. So I don't know. And it was just I think they just did another vehicle search because of that, but with the weather warming up, hopefully we can do more searches. And I've always when I did my search for Tyler, just with the vehicle search, I think it was like in January or December or November maybe. But when I did that, I've lived here for it'll be 12 years or 11 years in April. And I've always wanted to like go like just like country cruise and like cruise all the small towns around here because once you get out into the country part here, it kind of reminds me of being back home like out in the panhandle where there's just like, little tiny towns like 500 people here and 500 people there and 1,000 people here. I've always wanted to, and there's a lot more little towns around here than there is out there, but I've never been to these little towns. And my dad was a girls basketball coach at we lived in a small town in central Nebraska before I moved out, um, before I moved out west. And I always, I've, I've been to the small towns around central, but I've never been to the small towns around here. And I always just wanted to go like kind of like booze cruise, kind of like out in the country, but like maybe not with the booze, but just kind of like cruise the, countryside around here because I've never really done it. But when I went and searched for Tyler, I literally drove country gravel roads 5 miles. I drove like I think my area that I was assigned was like 5 miles east to west on four different roads. So I went east to west and then west to east and then east to west and then west to east. And for like just on true gravel, hilly roads and that's why I told Eric, I said, when we go and put our red flag or orange, bright orange flag where we think somebody would, hide a body. Okay. And I texted him, I said, Eric, I said, the problem is, I said, I come from the panhandle in Nebraska. Yeah, I'm in the panhandle in Nebraska, Mikey, if and so I come from the panhandle in Nebraska and I know of a lot of places that somebody could hide a body, and they gave us like 24 like bright orange flags to stick in where we thought. I said, Eric, I could have put all 24 of my flags out within a half a mile because there's so many like ditches and ravines and bodies of water and abandoned buildings and everything like that. So I don't know what I just hope that people are, not afraid to. I know people are not afraid to go in the woods and search, but I just hope that everywhere
No,
is search. But also, the other thing is if I hate to think about this, but
when Donna I went missing out of Missouri, Doodle was out there, boots on the ground, searching through the woods for her.
oh really? I remember that. I remember Donna's case. And people can move people too. Like they can move bodies. And so searching in the same place is all sometimes not always bad.
Well, I mean, yes and no.
I mean, you don't want to beat a dead horse, but I
It's
mean, no pun
rare.
intended,
I mean,
but
it is rare that they will move the body unless it's been several years, and then they're afraid that because of some new information has come along. Then, yeah, I've seen cases where they move the remains after it's been 10, 15 years, and a new tip comes
Well,
along and it shakes up the person that was
well,
responsible.
I guess the case that I think about most with moving the body around is, well, the body was always with them, or they knew where it was Harmony Montgomery. That one just is crazy to me because
Yeah. Harmony's
that's
case,
the
I
whole.
think, tears at everyone, well, anyone with a heart, it tears at.
I had to. I was told to stay away from that one for a while until I was ready for it, and I. Then when I was ready for it, I was like, "Oh, like I know why they said this. I know exactly why I was warned about digging into this one because, yeah, it's like one that I won't even. Yeah,
I've got some in my community that tear at my heart because, like, Melissa Witt, she went missing in 1994, 94, 95. But I was
mm-hmm.
boots on the ground searching for her when she went missing. Morgan Nick, I was boots on the ground searching for her when she went missing.
Yeah,
And Missy's case in particular pisses me off because her car was in the Bowling World parking lot for 3 days with people calling in tips that her car was there.
and they didn't go out.
It wasn't until Bowling World contacted law enforcement and said that a keychain had been turned in with Missy on it, and they think it may have something to do with her case, that they finally bothered to come out there and look at her car.
Yeah, wasn't it like 3 days?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on one second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. Um, and what did you say this girl's name was? Missy? Hello?
Melissa Witt, she went missing from Fort Smith,
Melissa.
Arkansas, and the Bowling World parking lot. And then her body would later be discovered miles away from Fort Smith in a wooded area. Um, but people were literally begging Fort Smith PD to go out there and take a look at her car. And to keep in mind, when they found the car, initially they didn't even see the blood that was around her car. It took them time to see that. That had to be pointed out to them by the search team. And then you've got the Morgan Nick case that is all kinds of fucked up. She went missing from a ballpark in Alma, Arkansas. Um, Shortly after she was abducted, there was another attempted kidnapping across the bridge. Well, not across the bridge, but in the next town over in Van Buren, Arkansas, at the Sonic.
Hmm.
The man that was responsible for that attempted abduction, his name was Billy Jack Links. Well, they searched his truck. They gathered all kinds of forensic evidence and everything out of his truck. And somewhere between the Alma Police Department and Quantico, the FBI headquarters, they lost all the evidence that was collected out of Billy Jack Link's truck during that initial search. It wasn't until just last year that they were able to find a single strand of hair. They were able to track the
Yep.
truck down and finally connect Billy Jack Links to Morgan's abduction.
Yeah. I heard about that. Because you guys talked about that on Dagos, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
talked about it
Yeah.
at the time that happened, and I've talked about it over on Southern Gals. I've gone on panel over on Southern Gals and talked about both Missy and Morgan's case over there.
Yeah. And I also, you guys, I just found out another one. I don't know if you guys have heard of Danny Houchins, but she went missing in 1999 and in Bozeman, Montana. That's where my aunt lives. And she was not sure if she was found. I think she was found, but no, yeah, they did find her, but they couldn't find any, link to anybody or anything. And finally, a new guy, uh, Elfmont, I think was his name. Detective Elfmont brings in or gets on the case. Um, I don't know when he got on the case, but he said there was just something about her that needed to um he needed to promise this mom that he would get it taken care of, and went missing in 1990, not 1999, 1996, I believe. And just something happened maybe in 2023 that they found a DNA or something, and the guy was 100 miles away from where it happened in Dillon, Montana. So very small town, I'm assuming. Um, and the police, they got something of evidence and had not a warrant, but they said, "Hey, Mr." Can't remember what his name was. Anyway, walked into his place of business, said, "Hey, we need to talk to you." They talked to him. Uh, didn't really, that conversation didn't really have a lot to show for, so they had to let him go, but they kept an eye on him, blah, blah, blah. And then last year, I don't know when it was, but it was sometime in 2024. But the parents, they had lied to the parents for 24 or 28 years or something like that, saying that there was no sign of foul play on Danny's body. And when they got the actual, like, when this guy took over and got like the actual autopsy, there was signs of uh there was signs of, I think, maybe strangulation. Anyway, I think they might have found some, I think some of the DNA they found was some semen on her body. I'm not sure. I could be getting it mixed up with another case, but I think that's the way it went. But anyway, they found the evidence. They said, "Hey, man, we got to talk to you." They talked to him, found out maybe they didn't have enough to quite get him yet, so they let him go by his questioning. And then something else came about, and the DNA came back a match. They came back, said, "Hey, man, we got to talk to you again." He came in, they talked to him. Something happened. I don't know. I think they let him go again, maybe. But this time, he was all but had, but they were just going to keep an eye on him this time. But he went into the parking lot, got in his car, drove off like a bat out of hell, and went somewhere like a few miles away or whatever, called the cops and said somebody is in danger, and told the cops where he was, said somebody was in danger, and when the cops got there, they found him with a gunshot wound to his head.
Kind of
So he
figured
knew,
that's where that was going.
yeah, he knew he was had.
Well,
And
JC, it has been very nice being on panel with you. We've been going for 2 hours, and I do need to try to schedule a live tomorrow.
all right,
Um,
I have a
but
very fun day planned tomorrow. So I'm happy about that because it'll help me get into a better headspace maybe.
I do appreciate the honor of you letting me come up on panel with you.
Well, thank you for
And
helping me because I know that you have more experience in this, and when I have questions, I just want to go to people that I know will help me and have the answers. So thank you, Mom and Arctic, for coming up. I appreciate you guys. So I'm not just sitting here talking to myself for
Oh,
two
it
hours.
was my honor. Thank you
But
for having
yes,
us up.
I just wanted,
absolutely.
I just had to get it off my chest, guys, because today has been a Sebastian day, and these days are. I'm sure you guys are in my same boat. These days are frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
They can be a lot, and I just wanted to talk about it, and I
Now,
did. So
sometimes you just got to vent, let it out, talk about what
yeah,
your concerns and stuff are. And it's good to do that because if you keep it bottled in, it's gonna be bad and it won't end well. So
right. Well, I thank you guys for
You will
your
explode.
knowledgeable information and helpful information for me. Um, it's just good to talk to you guys, and hopefully, we can do it again soon. And I will see you in your chats and panels. And I am going to also wrap this up. I will let you guys go, but I do have an announcement. Um, my work schedule, I am, you guys, I feel so far behind and so overwhelmed with all the cases I want to cover. Um, I'm very, very behind. However, my work schedule is changing, and guess what? I'm getting 2 days off in a row during the week now, starting
that is,
March starting
that
March
What?
23rd.
that is amazing. That is amazing.
Because usually the way my work schedule works now is I only get 1 day off during the week unless it's my 4 day weekend. And I don't even feel like I have a day off
Well, I
because
look forward to seeing you cover more cases then.
yeah, oh yeah, I have a so also we are coming up on I wanted to say this too. We are coming up on 6 months to CrimeCon. So I'm gonna start I have listen, I also made an entire schedule out, and then I lost part of it, and then I tried to make a new one, and now I've lost the entire thing again. So I do kind of have it memorized though.
Oh, no.
So yeah, I'm a whole mess, guys. But some of them won't take as long as I think they will. Some of them will be longer than others, just because of the information that's either out there or not. Um, so I will have more. I will have an extra day a week to do whatever I want. I'll feel like I have a day off, and maybe I'll feel like I can, hop on here. So I hope to bring you guys more coverage, more cases, be with you guys a little bit more. And like today, the 1 year mark passed for Sebastian. I wanted to go live on the 1 year mark, but when you only have 1 day off, sometimes my body just says I don't want to do anything. So hopefully that will change. And I've talked about Sebastian and the year mark and today's antics, and we'll do an update when there's something to update or I feel like I need to talk about it. Otherwise, we're going to move on to other cases, and I hope you guys will join me and learn about them as well.
Anytime you want me to come up and help you
Absolutely.
out with a case, I'll be here.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. You guys have a good night, and I thank you all for joining me tonight, everyone in chat as well. I appreciate it. This might have been my I think we had 13 people in chat at one point, which might be a record for me. So hopefully we're moving on and up. So you guys have a great night. Thank you so much, and I will see you guys soon.
Bye, everyone. Be
Good
kind to one
night.
another
Good
out
night,
there.
guys. Yes, be kind. As Annie says, don't join cults. Be nice to people. If you see something, say something, as Mom says. And it takes a village. And I'm going to say stay safe. Good night. Good night, friends.